measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If Earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat Earth king of rhyme.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching. Then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and X. We are joined by Neil, Click OK, Adam, One Deck, and a whole bunch of people. No, one person in the Flipside Discord server. So welcome one and all.
How are you?
Hello.
Wow, are you down a tunnel, down a mine? What's going on? Hello, One Deck. Good to have you. Hello, East is West in the Discord server, as you're the only participant. I don't know if word got out that I was doing the book. That is actually the case. I've spent the last 2 or 3 hours doing the book with a small break to go down to Click OK and actually pick up a charger for my wife's laptop that we also purchased from Click OK and get a bit of editing work done before this show, and then we will subsequently in about an hour from now do a bit more editing work through to the end of the late hours of today and probably early hours of tomorrow. So I'm hoping we can get some of the work done because we're so close I can taste it. So we've been working on today, literally just now, the final chapter. So we're not working in it in the actual order that it goes into the book because there's 2 more chapters to edit, but by just chance we're working on the very last chapter of the book. And I think it's a good place to be in terms of working on something that's going to literally be the last words that you read at the end of reading quite a lengthy and information intense publication. That's my book, All Roads Lead to a Flat Earth. So in that regard, we're still of fresh mind. And when it comes to the very last hurdle or last couple of hurdles with these last couple of chapters, one being any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved adjacent, and indeed a anecdote about one of the trolls that used to come on the show when we were debating from within the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator. So other than an anecdotal chapter which is about 5 pages, and by coincidence the information rich chapter which is also about 5 pages, there's also, did you say there's a Q&A? Is that actually going to go in the book, hun, as you're there? It's actually part of the material that you intend to put in the book?
Yeah.
Okay, so there is actually another chapter that's about, did you say that was 10 pages? 10 pages. Oh, so there's 10 pages. So there's 20 A4 sides at about 16, size 16 on Word that need to be done. And there's 145 that have been done so far. Again, same A4 pages of the book. So I don't know how much that'll translate to when it comes to it actually being book-sized. But that's where we're at. We've got 2 chapters basically left to do. And the chapter that we're working on currently, interjected with the live show, is the final chapter of the book. So there we go. That's where we're at. It's very, very close. So close you can taste it.
Yes. Did you straighten out your gain?
Oh, yes, I did, Neil. Thank you for reminding me. I'm glad you did, because I would have forgotten, and I hadn't by chance. I was moving around while my wife was finishing off that last sentence just before we went live. So anybody in my chat was like probably a bit weirded out because I did an introduction for the recorded show, which is typically named Uncut and After Show, although there may be neither in this particular show, and then paused that recording so I could do the exact same intro just with the word live instead of uncut, and then obviously going out to a live audience. So they got 2 intros in the in the Discord server and in the G Plus today, because it's a bit of a weird one. Time's always against me at the moment, and I'm kind of sick of it, if I'm honest. I do want to get some time back, and having gone through the process of keeping myself financially stable for the last 12 months by flogging microphones. That's come to an end, and now that editing process of the book has ramped right up, which is obviously subsequently robbing me all my time that I got back that I would have had or would have been doing microphones with. Well, I'm not. I'm just doing all book work. But when that is done, there's just this, right? Now, I know I'm going to go on a tour and probably be on other people's channels, or I hope I will be. And I invite people who are watching, and indeed people in my panels and Discord servers, to give me the names of any YouTubers or people that they think are worthy participants that would be interested in, having me on to punt my book, if I could say it, and have an affiliate link below their video so they can make some money from it too. If you know somebody that's of that particular description, and hopefully you know their contact information, you don't have to, but if you're a viewer of a particular YouTuber, for the sake of argument, you'll remember somewhere in the back of your mind when they've mentioned their contact information. Or if they haven't, just supply me the name so I can put it on the list, and maybe spend a couple of hours digging out their contact information if you haven't got it. But there's been lots of people who've done that, and I said I'd do it on yesterday's show, and I ended up not doing it. So what we'll do today is actually read through the list to give you, the audience, a general idea of who is the kind of person that I'm intending to get in touch with via a third party to have me on their show, potentially. And I may have said this in many times previous, but there's probably a 1 in 10 chance that if you give me a name, that I'll actually end up on that person's show. So it's just sales statistics in that regard. It's a bit like cold calling, but with a focused audience. I would expect 1 in 10 to drum up some interest, and then with a repeated cycle of contacting them if they haven't responded and so forth, getting me on their show so I can talk about the book. And that's something I'll read through now. So I've got Jesse Lee Peterson, Alex Jones, Eddie Bravo, Joe Rogan, Mark Sargent, Godfrey, Killer Priest, Infinite Plane Radio, THC, Bro Sanchez, Eric DeBay, D Nodal, Martin, Fisherman in a Box, UK Morning News, Phone Booth Podcast, Owen Benjamin, David Weiss, Stephen Chest, J Dreamers, Russian Vids, Heavy Riffs, some of these are repeated: Mark Sargent, Eddie Bravo, Nick Phuket Word, Morgile, GeoShifter, Bro Sanchez, Patricia, Martin, Mike Tyson, Candice Owens, Taboo Conspiracy, Jaron, Dave, Dell, Witsit, Vice Media, Russell Brand, Crow 777, THC, Jesse Lee Peterson, Alex Jones. Some of these are just the same but with email addresses that have been acquired. Adam Green, Jim Bowers, The Truth is Stranger Than Fiction, Kurt Metzger, Josh from Founded Earth, Vsauce, reach in there, I think. Magpie, I don't know what that is. Is there some more? Joe Harvey, Tom Cohen, Kelly Brogan, Dave Murphy, Alex Zeck, Steve Faulkner, Level Earth Observer, Level Earther, Count Dankula, Tim Dillon, and a load that are actually incorporated into email addresses that I don't want to necessarily read out their names by accident. John Campbell, Joey Barton, Carl Vernon. There's a few more. I won't carry on because I might accidentally read out their email address when I'm trying to decipher their name from it. So I won't read the rest of them, which are contained within email addresses. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of people that will be contacted in the very near future, and there'll be a potential for me to be on, maybe from that list, 3, 4, 5 people's shows. So I would hope that will generate some leads to get me out and publishing and punting and promoting my book when it comes out soon. That means that this won't be anything other than a live show. I think today I'll record it and obviously publish it to my members, and subsequently on the second channel, which you may or may not be subscribed to, the Nathan Oakley channel. But that's where the Uncut and After show goes if you don't want to pay for it as a member immediately after it's recorded. And in today's instance, there probably won't be much of, if any, a after show to go along with this live broadcast, which is also being recorded. So there we go. So those are the people that will be in contact, and if you have a name that you'd like me to put on that list, and ideally you've got a contact information bit for them as well, then provide that with their name and I'll stick them on the list, and then it'll be put into rotation and contacted about having me on their show and talking about all roads lead to a flat earth. But yeah, just as I didn't get any time to actually ask the panel, what did you think? I didn't intentionally didn't tell you that what we were editing was actually the very last chapter. I don't know if that makes any difference to your feelings on it as you were listening.
No, I think it's good.
I mean, I've said in the past, I think that the last chapter's very good. And when I wrote it, I was really proud of it. And when I heard it the first time before doing any of the actual editing, when we had a look at the 6th draft that my wife had cobbled together, I listened to it and heard it back without any work being done and went, that's a really good ending for the book. And then subsequently started saying it on live shows, like, the ending's really good. And as much as painfully heartbreaking it was to be shafted by a couple of members of my editing team, it was the case that it did give a very juicy, salacious story of betrayal for the final chapter of my book, making the ending extremely good. And I remember Conspiracy Cats come along, right, when this was in the process of happening, and I was being quite open about what was happening with my audience. He came along and said, there isn't enough popcorn in the world. And I went, oh, thanks. That's good. You should say that. You're saying you're enjoying this story. I'm like, yeah, really good ending. And suddenly it took someone that was perceived to be our enemy in years gone by, same guy that says, I'll give you a flat earth for that, when talking about how flat earth must be required for perspective in an perceived argument that he was putting forward whilst conceding our flat must measure earth. Same guy, right? There's not enough popcorn in the world for the end of my book. Oh, thanks. That's a vote of confidence I could definitely get behind. He even put a little popcorn emoji in his comment. Thanks, Conspiracy Cats. But yeah, it is, in my humble opinion, obviously it's anecdotal and completely gauged and revolving around myself, so as much as narcissistic intent isn't what I'm trying to put across here, is just I think it's a good chapter, and people like reading about salacious stories of betrayal when incorporating in how all roads lead to a flat earth in the conclusion, without you necessarily knowing that that's how I'm folding in, like a recipe, the conclusion to what you've been reading over the former chapters, with a salacious anecdotal story that's still hinged around the fact that Earth's measured flat. So I hope I've done a good job. I want a bit of reassurance from my panel still.
The only thing I'll say is, I don't think you're emphasizing enough how much time went by with nothing getting done for you to request the documents or the word draft so you can work on it. I don't think you're emphasizing that enough. There's months that went by.
Yeah,
months with nothing getting done.
I get it. It's just not interesting enough, Neil. So I was trying to say that while we were doing it, and you said it in the editing process earlier, right? There's certain details in a story that don't necessarily float people's boat when they're reading about it. By drawing out how tedious and how much of a delay. What's being explained is, in the book at the moment, the literal last sentence that we were editing was specifically about how it's a blessing in disguise that my former members of the editorial team tried to take ownership of my material, right? How is that a positive thing? Well, because the length of time that they delayed the process by meant that there was a new rhetoric ushered into the debate. Now, it's not to say that that wasn't in existence. These things tend to, slowly swell into existence. But it had fully matured in terms of how we disseminate the fact all roads lead to a flat earth in the most sincerest of form when the book was ended. And that meant that all of the housekeeping questions, which aren't necessarily or weren't past tense necessarily geared towards putting that information out there, it was about keeping the argumentation about how the globe gets destroyed concise, so it could be brought back to the forefront of anybody who rinses and repeats those arguments, those old arguments, right? Now, because of the huge delay, the all roads lead to a flat earth aspect, which has become the title of the book, gets refolded in like you're, doing your thing with your aeration of bread, right? You fold in a new section that's been swelling over time. So if it hadn't been for the delay, that might not have matured to the point where it could be concisely integrated into something that's topically different. Now, that's quite a feat. It's been a challenge to do, but a worthy one. Like, say, as you're reading through housekeeping now, if you're a dyed-in-the-wood fan of flat earth debate on either side, you've watched these stories turn into perceived arguments, get unpacked, consistency being added to them so that they can be summarised briefly to anybody who comes along on the fly. So all of those aspects of the housekeeping are retained, but with an overarching theme of this aspect of this housekeeping question requires Earth be measured flat, and we never noticed. So that has to be carefully included. And if you're at an early stage of a rhetoric like all roads leading to flat Earth, all measurements of Earth are flat and are required to be so to create a ball width, you can't necessarily summarise it like I've just summarised it, because you haven't developed it. It hasn't swollen to maturity yet. Now, that's where Neil's saying, well, you're not pointing out how that was a very long delay for that swelling to occur. And I've summarised it or boiled it back down to about a sentence and a half in the book, which has taken about half an hour to just summarise this one sentence, where I'm explaining that being screwed over by thieves actually benefited the book because it meant that a rhetoric had developed to the point where it could be reincorporated into the aspects of housekeeping and undermining globe rhetoric, which is what housekeeping did. Now, housekeeping is used as a tool to both undermine globe rhetoric and point out how we all whistled past the flat Earth prerequisite measurements used in, for example, the Earth curve calculator. We can argue about how the distance to the geometric horizon is 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, without a hint of irony when you realise that the distance and the measured height are both flat Earth measurements. So you don't need to argue about where an alleged orthographic distance to a horizon in a begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator is, when you appreciate fully, now that it's been incorporated and folded into that story, how the Earth must be measured flat to have that argument. Now that is a worthy endeavour, and the delay benefited the book in that regard. Had it not been delayed and there was a bit more of an efficiency offered because there wasn't two co-conspirators trying to screw me over and delay things for the intention of extortion, then it wouldn't have necessarily been the case that this got incorporated. It would have been published as is, just with better references that they offered to put into the book for the housekeeping stories and the individuals who produce those stories, like the historical characters and their references, right? Well, they've been stripped out, and what's been put in place is the roads leading to flat Earth that are required to have the housekeeping questions exist in the first instance. So a worthy endeavour that's come as a result of the time. Now, in that story that I've just explained to you, the audience, which is the most important detail? Is it the time aspect and how long it took? No, that actually isn't very important. But Neil feels that it is, and that's why I've given you my explanation.
No, I didn't say I feel that's important. I just said you didn't emphasize enough. But that's fine. The only thing what I would say is that as I'm thinking about it, what happened was you took a globe debunking book and made it into a flat Earth book.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes, that's correct. That's a good summary. So it's gone from, this is how we summarise all of the positions that we used to argue about how Earth is not a sphere, and turned every single one of them into, this is how we whistled past all the flat Earth measurements when arguing about how Earth, which is a sphere made with those flat Earth measurements, gets debunked. So it's become quite complex in terms of that happening. But you think you've got the expertise to produce a book when you're 8, 9, 10 years into the subject. Now you're getting an idea of these timelines. But when you're 10, 11, 12 years into the rhetoric, you are actually considerably more experienced and therefore more fluent in an ability to disseminate this information to a reader, something I'm not skilled in. This is my first book. So, it's a good thing that it's taken a while to have it go through the mill several times. And by the time it does come out, it'll be on the 8th or 9th draft. So, it's good stuff. I'm delighted that there's been a delay. Now, most people would look back on being attempted to get fucked over and go, aren't you bitter about that? You're like, no, I'm generally a glass half full kind of guy. And I will look on the bright side, find that silver lining, and then work things to my advantage. That's what people do when they're men. No offence to the women out there. It's just a manly trait. You just soldier on, don't you?
Yeah, but I do think you were going to get the last say in that book anyway, and I don't think you were going to release it as it was. But be it as it may, this is what we're getting, and it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I just hope that some of the more information-dense chapters don't send people to sleep. I said yesterday, there's been times when my wife's editing it where she's like desperately trying to keep her eyes open because it's boring her. Now, I understand that that's kind of partially, this is the information that our opponents fight us on. They have invested time in stuff that most normies go, it's not worth the investment mentally, right? Cognition is expensive. I don't want to burn the calories on learning this boring shit. So they don't. But there's always some adenoidal dweeb that will learn about orbital motion and bent pseudo-Riemannian space-time geometry. There's always that dweeb. And when we come along and go, measured flat anyway, your understanding and advanced heliocentric knowledge was based on these flat Earth measurements. It undermines the base premise that they're trying to reify, that's make real, when they looked at and studied their models that they felt were important. We've robbed them from that. That's why they're not going to the map makers and the cartographers and the surveyors and the Lite crew. They're not going to any of those people, because those people will always require Earth be measured flat functionally to operate in their jobs. Whereas we are just an affront to their fart-sniffing nature when it comes to them having this perceived to be all useful, and it isn't, knowledge of how Earth's a sphere. It isn't. And like I say, we are an affront to that, as opposed to the people who just go out there and measure Earth flat because it must be. So for that reason, I hope that the book will be useful for putting in front of a normie, but not necessarily sending them to sleep with the snoozeworthy stuff that the people who violently oppose us, and it is violence that they offer to us, these unpleasant people. That's undermining, or not undermining, underestimating or underdescribing what these people actually are. They're brutal. They've opposed us. When they say things will be ignored and laughed at, then violently opposed, and then accepted as having always been the case, the violent opposition is us being told that our kids should be taken away and that we're not worthy of the air we're breathing, we should jump off tall buildings. That's the violent opposition from a very small minority of adenoidal dweebs who are simply defending snoozeworthy information that's generally sending my wife to sleep when I'm editing it. Now, fortunately, again, as a consequence of the delays caused by thieves, it's meant that the incorporation of the exciting bit, that's Earth being measured flat in all instances by everyone, even the people trying to build a ball with them, is going to be the prevalent piece of information that I hope the reader will take from my book, so that the adenoidal dweebs can, recognise how, although I'm the author of the book, I'm not the author of the measurements. They're always flat and always were. So, it's an interesting turning point in terms of flat Earth debate career for me, and for the information that most people are accepting as having always been the case, because it was always the case that Earth was measured flat. Regardless of your belief in a ball that you were taught in school, the ball was created with those flat Earth measurements. And the ball, in its complicated nature, has facilitated a back engineering of those measurements into the sphericity offered by a compass, or protractor, rather, that's wrapped around the flat surface that we measure. All of the diagrams I present on screen give you this particular view, where you're in the centre of a glorified protractor. You've only got to paint a globe onto this guy who stood in the middle of it to understand how spherical extrapolations have come from flat Earth measurements. That's just how it is. Now, for the guy who realises that when they're reading my book and go, bloody hell, there's an extrapolation from the flat Earth that we measure to the ball that I thought we were standing on, and it's just a glorified protractor, that person's going to have a revelation. He won't necessarily feel the need to go to page 87 on some website and find out how that person justifies the curved edge of the protractor used to measure angles off a flat plane is actually the Haversine conversion of the world that you definitely are standing on in violation of the measurements that are flat. Because that makes sense if you're just higher than the cognitive processing needed to invest in it. You'll go, I can't be bothered with this, it's not really worth it. But for the guy, the dweeb, that's learnt this stuff and genuinely believes that by converting flat Earth measurements to the outside edge of a protractor and calling it the surface they're standing on in violation of those measurements is worthy of defending to someone who has no influence over the original base measurements. That's me. So yeah, hopefully the people who read my book will enjoy it and take some information about it, even if they are opposing me, waiting for the revelation of how flat Earth gets measured, or indeed died in the wood fans of the show that just want to see it all concisely put into a text form rather than a verbal form.
We have a noob. This guy, he's always around. His name is actually Curve Nerd, and he says, and all you can put forward is angle or lines or planes. Everything we also use to measure and predict behavior of curved objects. If geometry would mean flat, everything would be flat. Reification.
Again, it's back to this. I'll look at you, Curve End, and go, isn't it interesting that you're not content with your apologetics for how flat Earth must be measured and your explanations for how ball-shaped you believe the world to be? Why are you appealing to us for this? Go in peace. If that's good enough for you, good on you. Ruffle your little ginger head and your spotty skin and tell you to be on your way. You accept this as true. You do not accept the flat Earth measurements used in all instances when measuring Earth as a flat plane and referencing it as horizontal. You don't accept that. Okay, that's okay. Go away. I've read your comments. You're a deeply unpleasant little man. One of those low-value males who wastes their lives debating. Yeah, go away. Yeah, you were on a ball. Good for you. You.
Well, he tries to make it logical. See, that's the problem, and you hit it right in the head. He wants to be intellectual because his last comment was, that is the logical gap none of you can explain or fill. Reification so far only.
Let me just rephrase that, Neil.
Actually, that's the logical consistency.
Yeah, that's what you sound like to everybody around you when they're not falling asleep. Yeah? It's just a fact. What you've got to defend is tedious and boring. I'm deeply concerned, like the people that we cover when they're making videos about making maps, surveying the land, or utilising horizontal distances at trig points. Those people make disclaimers about how boring they could potentially be perceived to be. Now, I'm concerned because I'm explaining this information with respect to Earth's horizontal planar surface, referenced in all instances, and measured to map, chart, and survey the land that we are actually on. Those pieces of information, as fascinating as they are to you, dweeb, most people are bored by. Now, I get it. You feel it's an affront for me to point out how these measurements are flat. No. You have got boring information. Forget how right or wrong you say I am, and know this. Most people are bored with what you have invested your time in, and they don't see you as some secret king for knowing it. They looked at it, assessed it, and went, nah, boring, and didn't invest the cognition that you feel, because you have invested it, is valuable. It's not. There's no practical use for your ball-shaped faith. There's nothing being developed from it. Anything that's put into practical application when it comes to measurements are all flat. Now, we know this. So moving forward, what is there to discuss? Nothing. There's just us assessing you, yeah? You ginger little troll. Out in society, not only are people bored by you, most people find you irritating. Because not only are you boring, you are insistent on boring them, aren't you? You're here insisting that we listen to you bore the tits off us. Well, let me assure you, we'll be looking back down the barrel of the camera at you, not assessing your need to square these circles. No, we're okay. But if you need me to affirm, oh, bless you, got me on a little pedestal. Oh, yeah, it's okay, it's a ball. You're definitely a ball. You're on your way. Oh, you're still here? I wonder why. That's fascinating. Let's have a little look, shall we, at you. Oh, you're just a low-value, unfuckable golem who's insisting his boring information's definitely valuable because you're the secret king. Actually, it's a logical inference. You're just boring. But you're very interesting to look at from the outside. Analyse. Yeah, that's what we'll be doing. But if you just need to come to take some solace in how ball-shaped you believe the world to be, I'll take it. Oh, yeah, we measure Earth flat and create a ball with it. That means you're on a ball. Okay? On your way. You are definitely staying around us. People who would sooner beat the living piss out of you than actually share time with you. You want to hang around with people who hate you. Well, that's interesting too, isn't it? We hate you. We find you boring. But you're still here even though we're literally telling you to your face. We find you tedious. Your subject we've studied. You thought it had high value. We looked at it. And we know it's boring. What's that? You don't understand. No, we do. We understand just how boring it is. Meanwhile, now that we've moved past how Earth actually gets measured, all we can do is psychoanalyze boring, ginger, unfuckable golems with their perceived to be valuable ball Earth information that they're insisting everybody listens to them about, in spite of it being very boring. That's interesting. You become the subject. Not flat Earth, that's just how it's measured. Moving on, are you a bit slow as well? As boring and unliked? You slow too? Aww. Why don't you go away and have your little ball? Those are the people like you, like stupid people. Go and talk to them about this on screen. Yeah? Now, we won't educate you about how flat the latitude measurement is with respect to the celestial or globe, Earth, equatorial flat plane. We don't need to educate. You're too dumb. Go away. Yeah, ball. You need ball, yeah? Ball, yeah, good. Nathan says ball, yeah? Good boy. What's that? No, we must know how logically consistent. You're just boring everybody.
Well, the problem with Curve Nerd and others is the reason why they keep coming is to stop lying, deceiving zealots.
Oh, they're concerned about lying, deceiving zealots, are they? No, they're not. They're talking about... Is it talking about lying, deceiving? I didn't hear those words. They're just liars as well as boring. They're talking about flat Earth measurements and how ball-shaped they must still be. That's what they're doing. They're not talking about lies and deceit. Well, we talk about this on screen. You're going to fight with this diagram. Yeah? Notice how I can consistently weave in how flat Earth gets measured with a diagrammatical example. That we're talking about how we're moving past. While liars tell us that they're here to stop the lies. Why didn't you mention that, little liar? Oh, it's because you need a ball. Here it is. There you go. Don't just ignore the flat plane and how it terminates in the centre of the ball. Don't worry your precious little ginger head about it. Yeah? On your way. Now go and find other people to praise be to ball. Yeah, we say you're allowed. We give you, it's what you're seeking, our permission. Okay? Now don't pretend you're here to stop lies. You're not the secret king. You're not P.I. Ginger Nerd. Yeah, you're not conducting any investigations. You're not in authority to stop anything. Stop deluding yourself. I mean, obviously, we've got to give you a reality sandwich, little gamma. You're not the secret king. You're not conducting an investigation. You're just trying to affirm your little bull belief, aren't you? Bless. And we're giving it you. You've got our permission. What's that? Lies? No, look, on-screen ball. Can you say ball? You can have that ball. It's on me. What's that? Are you still here? Did you not like my ball? There you go, you have this ball. Ignore the flat Earth elevation angle and take just the ball bit. Go on, off you go. Why are you still here? Are you silly? Are you slow? Yeah, that's fascinating. Let's study you.
It's weird because more than 90% of the world still believes we're on a globe, and this would bother them, this little small amount of people. Because I said, why are you still here? You don't have to be here. We say Earth is measured flat. You say it's a ball. Okay, then go away. Why do you want to harm us now? And that's when he said, because he wants to stop liars, lying, deceiving zealots.
So now he's calling us lying, deceiving zealots. Again, I'll reiterate, we would sooner beat the living shit out of you than spend time in your company. Like, literally, because you're irritating. You didn't seem to get the light-hearted, jovial, go away now, on your way, you're still here. Yeah, I've pointed that out now 3 times. At this point, if you were in a bar next to somebody who's made a joke about how fun it is to ruffle your head and send you on your way, bang! You would have the ever-living shit kicked out of you. Because at this point, you've become threatening. You've been told to fuck off, and you're still here. Now, in society, people beat the shit out of people like you. They'll politely insinuate that you should be moving on your way a couple of times. Then they beat the shit out of you. That's just life. Now, you have to be here to avoid that happening, don't you, you unfuckable little ginger adenoidal golem? You're still here. We've told you we don't want you here. We've told you we hate you. We've described why we hate you, because you're deeply unpleasant. And in society, this is where you get your head stamped on. Now, I know that that's why you're here. You need to be protected from the fear of that happening to you in society, and it would, and you know it. That's why you're here, around people who utterly despise you. Because that's the closest thing you've got to friendship, isn't it? You unfuckable little golem. You've metaphorically had your head flushed down the bog and you're still standing around the people who hate you. Aren't you? Yeah, these people are very unpleasant.
They still want to hang out with us. That's the problem. No matter how many times you tell them to go away, they want to hang out. And their quote for this is they're helping people because they're stopping us lying, deceiving zealots.
Oh, they're helping people? Oh, yeah, I've heard that one too. Craig Fight the Flat Earth goes around calling himself Batman. Yeah? So I banned one of his screen names and he let go that it was Craig, using the screen name Batman. So in his mind, this Gamma, he's a superhero helping people. You ineffectual reject of a man. You're not Batman. You're not a secret king. You're not a secret superhero. You're just valuing useless information way above its market value. That's all you're doing. Meanwhile, what you fight for, that's fight the flat earth, fight people who talk about conspiracies on 9/11. Yeah, that's really what you do. Because when it comes to the geometry of a surface level, I have no control over that. But you still want to fight us? Why? Because secretly you're defending Gotham against the evil forces of lies. You fucking Gamma. That's what we deal with. Deeply unpleasant people who think that they're the secret king, they're the secret superhero. That's what they genuinely believe, that they're secretly fighting the good fight, helping people. Who are you helping? You're helping the surveyors measure it flat with water levels, taking reference to a horizontal plane, describing elevations from sea level. You're not going to help any of that. Oh, right, it's me. Because you're on the war for justice. Trail against flat. Yeah, you're just an idiot. Secret Gamma dick. You're not consequential. You're not doing anything. Even the ones that delude themselves to the point where they actually go and measure Earth, like Simon Dan, completely delusional. Did Dan help society with his 1,000 flat Earth elevation angles to the sun? Ooh, did he really help the world? Oh, pray tell, what did he produce? Was it a new map? Was it a new time system? What was it that Dan gave us? Absolutely nothing. Delusional Gammas. I'm helping the world by measuring it flat 1,000 times because we're on a ball. Really? Okay, what did it do? What was the net result? Other than your YouTube revenue, what was it that it developed for you again? Absolutely nothing. Just another Gamma dick deluding himself that he's actually consequential to the world he inhabits. You're not.
Pretty sad, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good to analyse, though. People love looking down their nose at idiots.
That's why when you said that certain part of the book, you feel like it's boring, but there are people, there's a lot of jinns out there, on the flat and globe side that eat that stuff up, Nathan. Can't get enough of it.
Yeah, because they found that stuff has value against another next man. The fact that another next man online is some snot-nosed, adenoidal dweeb is irrelevant to them. They're just, I know more about this specialist subject than you do, so I can lord it over you in an advanced capacity, or a perceived to be advanced capacity from any onlookers. So your guy who's defending the value of his advanced knowledge of heliocentrism, worthless that it actually is, and boring that it actually is, has a counterpart on the perceived to be flat Earth side, where the guy in this example, Jin, will value his advanced knowledge over the dweeb's advanced knowledge. So they lock heads, and there's like a battle of wits between ineffectual dweebs about how valuable this useless information is. It's like, what is it actually developing at the end of the debate, if you want to call it that? It isn't. Both will have to whistle past surface level, sea level, eye level, elevation angles, flight levels, miles, distances, all of the things, perspective. I'll give you a flat earth for that, right, cats? They'll have to whistle past it all to have a so-called debate so they can both see whose farts smell better. You're like, okay, they're no better. These are just dweebs as well. They're just dweebs that happen to be flat earthers that value this shitty information that doesn't benefit anybody. Knowing how heliocentrism doesn't work also has no value. Yeah? Other than you lording it over dweebs. So what, you're the king of the dweebs because you're a cool bong-smoking flat earther who knows more about heliocentrism than some guy who thinks he's Batman? Wow, well done you. What else do I need to plug? I need to plug my patronage. That's what I need to do. I've been doing it for the last 2 or 3 days. If you like what I do here on Flat Earth Debate, then please join me as a patron. Currently, I am funding my wife to not do any overtime for a normie job by giving her my PayPal so she can help me edit the book. And that's going to come to a swift close in the next few days, maybe a week. And when it does, I belch up my drink. When that does come to a close, I'll have her doing the bit where she contacts people, all those names that I read out earlier. So for that reason, I personally, although the family's no different, same pot, but I personally am quite poor. It'd be nice if I had some patronage so I can actually afford to buy some electronics when they break, which was the original intention for Patreon. It was the reason I put it out there in the first place and started e-begging, because I had never had any money to repair anything when it broke. Now, that is still absolutely the case. It's just Patreon's become a regular stream of income. But it'd be nice to have more, obviously being quite poor and being in a subject that is utilised by elites to control people with fear. That's the only real purpose of heliocentrism. Having an advanced knowledge in it doesn't necessarily alleviate you of the fear. It means that you want to project that fear onto people who've relinquished themselves of it. Nevertheless, it doesn't have any practical applications beyond all of the systems that are already in place that utilise things like time and calendars. Inventing extra layers on top that bend and warp space-time don't actually benefit you. There is no DeLorean. You're not travelling through a pseudo-dimension. They just give you entertainment. And it's folly. There's no practical use for any of these things beyond the systems and concepts of calendars and time, because those things don't rely upon the surface actually curving in violation of the angle measurements to the lights used to produce those systems, including but not limited to heliocentric orbital motion from flat Earth measurements. There we go. Join me on Patreon. There's a link below this video. It'd be great to get a few more Patrons under my belt before the book comes out.
Are you saying we can measure time?
Time is a derivative of movements of light. You can then put it into various different concepts with various different dissections of time. You know, you can use various different base systems. At the moment, we use 12 because it's nice and divisible. Realistically, should we use 13? There's definitely an argument for that. If, when I say that we're not having any practical use, when I say there's no new time system from Simondan measuring the sun with elevation angles, is he developing a system that's based on the rotations of the moon at 13 cycles over the year? What's a year? How's that been derived? Well, movement of the sun. So when we describe time, it's a concept in terms of what's on your watch. But you can also describe time in a very different way. You can describe it as the entropic decay you experience in life, also called the arrow of time. In that respect, it's very devoid of what we commonly think of when we experience the movement of light. That time, entropic decay, isn't that time on your watch. So in terms of conceptual differences, just measuring the elevation angle of the sun, we've already extrapolated all practical use, and it's long established. That's why I say that doing these anti-globe or even anti-flat earth things to affirm your sphere belief has no practical application. There isn't going to be a new time system developed from Simondan getting 1,000 participants to measure the sun. Likewise, when I tracked the sun twice for 24-hour periods, it didn't actually develop anything new. It was just a folly. It's just a way of keeping you busy.
So what are you saying? You're never going to get like a realizing Euclid? These things are already done.
I mean, maybe if enough time elapses, I'll become Euclid. Or I can just steal all of his valor. I don't know, maybe, something like that. Who knows?
So according to him, horizontals prove a globe. Now, what sense does that make?
Sorry, you need to do it in the voice. Bring, bring. What's that? Actually, horizontals prove a globe. Why are you phoning me? Did somebody invite you for this? Who asked you for your opinion, you unfuckable little golem? Nobody. But you insist on boring people. You interest me. You're a very strange character. Fascinating to study. What's that? I must listen to you tell me how horizontal... No, I'm just going to look at you as an individual. Why do you need us to understand this? Like we haven't spent a significant amount of time moving past it. Why do you insist that we hear you? That's very interesting to me. You as an individual, not your rhetoric. No, we've moved past that. Earth just gets measured flat. Like we utilise the horizontal. when measuring Earth's surface. It's called surface level. Have you never heard of it? What's that? Oh, a bit slow? Yeah, we don't care about that. We're more intrigued with why you'd still be here. Yeah? You're boring everybody, but you're still hanging around. Maybe if you continue not getting the hint about how much we despise you, eventually you'd be in a comparative social scenario where you'd have your head kicked in. Yeah, we'll eventually reach that point, won't we? Well, we're being told our horizontals aren't horizontal, they're actually globe-shaped. Okay. I mean, again, why do you need this? You're not content with your religious belief and faith in balls? I mean, go in peace. Again, like the last guy. You need the ball? I'll have this one. Just paint a ball onto this bit, yeah? And then Bob's your uncle. Oh, there you go. I've done it for you. Have this one. Ignore the flat plane needed for the 40 degrees. Just ignore that bit. Only look at the ball bit, okay? You need ball. I give you ball. Now go. Oh, you're still here? But we've said we don't want to be around you. We offered you some understanding that you were denying, and you're still here even though we're saying that we find this boring and we don't want to talk about it anymore. We know more about it than you do, but you still insist on telling us stuff? Go away, we're now losing our patience with you a little bit. Bugger off and find other really stupid people to talk about this ball that Nathan say is good for you. You have this ball. Okay, dum-dum? Now off you go, yeah? Now, if you carry on hanging around and insisting that we listen to you, take your phone calls, answer your questions, then eventually you're going to get a slap. I've got to be honest. Obviously, this is a metaphor where in society, people wouldn't tolerate you after they politely tell you to get lost. Yeah? You're like that guy that's hanging around the girl after she's rejected him. Yeah? She's told you to sling your hook and you're still there insisting that she listens to how wonderful a husband you'd make her. Eventually, she's going to call the police or alternatively pepper spray you. Yeah? Now, this is where we're at with these people. Okay, yeah, we get it. You need this flat Earth elevation angle measurement coming from the centre of a glorified protractor you think is a ball to actually be the ball you perceive us to be standing on. Okay, we get it. Have it. It's on me. But have it meaning go away with it, not stay telling us how we need to understand something that we've already moved past. Yeah? No, we don't like associating with you. You're deeply unpleasant. You've inserted yourself into this conversation without being asked. Have you? So, get lost now. Yeah? We don't want to have to give you a slap or pepper spray you, but we will eventually. Go and find like-minded golems. Right, they're out there, right? Go and tell Dan how wonderful he is for measuring Earth flat 1,000 times. Tell him how ball-shaped that makes Earth. What, thousands of flat Earth elevation angles? That means you've confirmed how ball-shaped it is thousands of times with these horizontal measurements. Okay, good, go find him. I'm sure he'll be really pleased. Go and give him money. See, Dan? See, I'm such a good guy. I'm telling people to give you money. For being a dweeb with this boring-ass information you've successfully monetised. Anybody got any plans? Going to get straight back onto the book in about 15 minutes from now. I might leave the Discord server open if people want to listen to some of the book being edited. You're welcome to join. There's a link below this live stream chat.
Is anybody in Discord?
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 people, including me. I think the word got out that I was going to be editing books because lots of people said, "Oh, are you editing book?" And I'm like, "Yeah." No, you even. I think you even said, "Neil, are you editing book or doing the live stream?" Now I didn't respond, but it was both. You know, we did it before the live stream, and we'll do it after. Oh, I was just having a break.
Yeah, that was a guess. We're going to edit the book, or we doing a show, and you came and did both.
Yeah, that's what being poor does. Makes you burn the candle at both ends out of necessity. In this case, financial necessity. Although no more than smash the super chat. Smash the super chat to support this channel. 52 people watching. Please share the show if you've not done so already. It's like 2 clicks. And you can put this fantastic discussion in front of other people. So share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Check if you're subscribed. It might be the case that you've clicked the subscribe button a while back and you don't actually realise that you're not subscribed and you've been recommended this video and you've come along and joined the live stream audience. Did everybody like what we did yesterday, by the way? With the surveying guy?
Yeah, that was great. Just a regular dude surveying the land, surveying it flat.
Yeah, I thought that was an excellent shout by refracted curvature. Right,
But
well,
the
there's
whole
hardly
time,
anybody.
but
Go on, go
Nathan,
ahead.
the whole time, the guy thinks he's on a globe. You know that, right?
That's what Jin said to us. Neil's repeating a rhetoric from Jin, CBR1, who would point out when we have normies measuring Earth flat, specifically detailing how flat we have measured Earth, we being them. He would say, well, that guy still thinks he's on a ball. Like, well, he didn't say that, though, did he? He's like, yeah, but he does. And you're like, yeah, and? So what? You can have these non-inclusive beliefs that violate your measurements. You can do that with beliefs. I believe I can fly. Now jailed for life.
Well, I find it interesting that people still want to debate. That's the one thing I'm like scratching my head about. Like for years, people were searching for a silver bullet. And then when you get one, you still want to debate. It seems a little bit strange to me.
Right, I said it earlier. The three stages are mocked and laughed at like it's completely ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous to believe that Earth's a flat plane. How stupid those people are. Number 2, violently opposed. You need to go and jump off a tall building, have your balls removed and your kids taken away from you. How dare you say Earth's flat? 2, yeah, of course it's measured flat. Sea level, surface level, flight levels, eye levels, elevations, elevation angles, distances, heights, they're all flat. We already knew. I've always known it's flat. That is accepted as having always been the case. Flat Earth has that. All three aspects. Initially mocked as being ludicrous. Then violently opposed. You got to fight the flat Earth, have you? Hey, Batman? Yeah? Fighting for the good? Then accepted as being always the case. We always measured Earth flat. Want an example? Here's one on screen. What's that? You just need to paint a ball around this person standing on a flat plane measuring right ascension and declination. That's what you need to do. Just wrap a ball around it, just paint a ball on top of this. But everybody already knew we were measuring angles off a flat plane. Everyone already knew that miles were horizontal and linear. They already needed no introduction to a flat map. Everybody knew it was flat all along. What's that? You still think it's a ball? Well, I already knew it was flat. What's wrong with you? Right, we're going to be rounding out soon. I started 2 or 3 minutes early so I could finish early, and we're getting pretty close to the hour. It's going to be a short show, unless we get a load of interjection from Click OK or Wondeck or Len, maybe. We'll see. Hey, Adam. Hey, everyone in Discord as well. Hello.
Hey.
Has anybody got anything they want to add?
Hi, Nathan.
I just want to check if you've got stuff that you want to add as we enter into this weekend period. If not, I'm going to round out early because I want to get back onto editing the book. I'm very excited to be doing it. No? Yeah? No?
No, I'm good. Let's follow that excitement.
Yeah, well, I'll carry my enthusiasm into the editing process. It's just there's a live audience, so if anybody does want to add something before we have a little break, because we'll have 2 or 3 days off now. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Forever being 3 days.
Well, what's happening is you're in the home stretch now, and it's getting very exciting. So I want to make these shows quick, concise, and get back to the book. Easter's coming up, you know.
Yeah, it is. Right, I'll do a few more plugs and then we'll round out. So, if you've got any names of any contacts that you'd like me to be in touch with, be sure to get in touch via all of the different links below this video, so you can give me the names of any YouTubers or any other media outlets, and for that matter, that you'd like me to hopefully get in touch with and hopefully be on their shows to promote All Roads Lead to a Flat Earth as it comes to the conclusion of the editing process. So that book will hopefully be out in the next few weeks when it comes to Easter. We'll see, hopefully. If it is a little bit delayed, that's perfectly reasonable. But Also, if you'd like to support the channel, join me on Patreon. So there is a link again to Patreon. It'd be nice to increase my patronage before the book actually comes out, and hopefully keep the lights on if indeed I can't continue to do live shows because I'm out and about on other people's shows promoting the book. So yeah, please join me on Patreon. Also, a massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented and shared, subscribed, all that good stuff with respect to this particular live show. Obviously, a massive thank you to today's Discord and G Plus panels for making today's live show possible. Unfortunately, there's not going to be any after show whatsoever, as I say, that I'll be going on to edit the book once this live stream is over. So another massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hitting me up on PayPal, joining on Patreon, hopefully, and all that good stuff. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G Plus panels. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If Earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.